LG is attempting to change the traditional smartphone design with its flagship G2 handset, but is change always a good thing? The G2 has its power button and its volume buttons mounted on the back of the device instead of along the sides or on the top like a normal handset would have. Using the rear key controls felt awkward at first, but it didn't really take that long to get used to the placement of the buttons. At first we kept reaching to the top to try to find the power button or kind of feeling along the sides for the volume keys, but it didn't really take long to get used to it. This is especially great for someone like myself that has relatively small hands, because on a device like this that's a little big, it's 5.2 inches, which is bigger than the iPhone and slightly bigger than the Galaxy S4, but it's not quite a phablet just yet. It can be kind of strenuous to consistently reach up when we're using one hand. One of the other features LG's played up with the G2 is its knock-on display, which means you can simply tap it and the screen will light up. You don't even have to press the power button on the back. And when you're on the lock screen or the home screen, you can also tap it to turn it off again. But we found this feature to be a little sluggish and inconsistent during our testing. It's working fine right now, but earlier today we couldn't get it to turn on or off right away. It's even being a little slow right now. It's also slower than just using the power buttons, so we're not really sure how useful it's going to be, but it could come in handy if you're navigating around your device and you don't really want to move your finger to press the button in the back. You can just tap it and it'll turn off. And LG has kind of built upon its interface that it introduced with the Optimus G Pro. It comes loaded with features such as its quick settings menu. And before, I think the options were a little limited on the Optimus G Pro, but now we have a bigger menu of quick settings options. So if you want to change your phone to vibrate mode, you can do that just by pulling down from the top. You can pick a Wi-Fi network, enable NFC, and there's really a bunch of stuff you can do in here, which is really convenient. And one thing that makes it slightly better than TouchWiz is that you can access the Q-Slide apps right from this menu. And what Q-Slide is, it's basically a feature that lets you open more than one app at a time on the home screen. So in a sense, it's kind of like a floating browser. So right now we have our calculator open, and we're going to open our calendar app at the same time. And as you can see, you can kind of drag and drop them around the display. You can also change their size by dragging the corners out. And you can also change their transparency by playing with this little slider here. So this isn't new to the G2. This was also in the Optimus G Pro. But one of the new features is slide aside, which means that if you have these open but you don't want to close them and you don't want them on your screen, you can kind of park them over to the side like that and move them around as you please. And those icons will stay there no matter where you are on the device, kind of similar to Facebook's chat heads feature. So if I scroll through the interface, you can see that they're still there. And even if I open my apps menu, you'll see that those icons don't really go anywhere. And I can even open an app like Google Drive and those will still be there. And if you want to get rid of them, all you have to do is drag them out and then you can close them. And like I was saying, one thing we like about the quick settings menu for the G2 is that you can access those Q-Slide apps right here. With Samsung's interface, you actually have to enable the feature in this quick settings menu and then exit quick settings to access the toolbar that comes up along the side. So that's one thing that's really great. And LG is also taking more attention to child-friendly features with the G2. So if you're a parent and you give your child your smartphone sometimes to play with, you can use guest mode, which basically means that you set a separate unlock pattern and you get an entirely different interface with apps that you've chosen for yourself. So as you can see, there's no app menu down here. There's no Google Play Store. These are just the apps that we pre-selected from the settings menu. And you can quickly change back to normal mode just by using your other unlock pattern, and now you're back in the normal interface. So these are some of the new things you can do with the G2. One more feature that LG really hyped up with its new smartphone is a feature called Text Link. And what that does is if you have an address within a text message and you want to figure out how to get there or, book it in your calendar, you no longer have to exit the messaging app to do that. You can just press the little link icon and then you get this sub-menu that comes up. And let's say we want to find that address in Google Maps. We would just press the address and there you go, it's already pulled up on a map. So like I said, these are a few of the new things you can do with the G2, but perhaps the most impressive feature is its long-lasting battery life. This phone lasted 10 hours and 42 minutes during the laptop battery test, which essentially means that we continuously surfed the web over LTE with the brightness set to 40%. This is longer than most other smartphones, including its competitors. And granted, the screen isn't as bright as the one on the HTC One or the Galaxy S4, but it's still very impressive for a smartphone to be able to last that long. And it also comes with Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor, and it's one of the first smartphones to do so, which means that it's basically a powerhouse when it comes to processing power. Overall, we loved the G2's long-lasting battery life and impressive performance, but we weren't really crazy about how dim the display was, and the knock-on feature wasn't always accurate or reliable. And as for the rear key design, that's really up for the user to decide if they feel like that would be comfortable. Once again, this is the LG G2 for AT&T. This is available on a 2-year contract for $199, and I'm Lisa Edichico with LaptopMag.com.